Welcome to Kickstarter Radio 102.4. I'm your host, Lipstickpaddy, and today we're looking at Far Cry Beyond. Ooh, now, I'm a huge Far Cry fan. I've played all the games on the PC, and I love it. Now, what we've got here, however, is a cooperative version. Solo as well, yes. And so it calls it an epic spin-off. Bordering into a little bit of sci-fi a little bit, as we've got like mutations going on. We'll see as we go down. But it is based on the AAA video game Far Cry. So what is the IP actually giving it? Well, it has the open world where you can travel between points on the map, and it's got a bit of a light legacy, which means non-destructible legacy, and there's branching storylines going on, but you might discover something's going on and let the enemy win because you don't want, you're too weak to attack them due to what's happened in this scenario. But you may get a chance to attack that enemy later on because you know where they're going, so you can kind of follow the leads as you're going around. So things on the world map are going to be updating and things like that. So you don't have to wax everything in the scenarios. You can kind of let things play out and potentially get on with that in the future. Because you'll be stronger as you go through it. Because this is you're going to be building stronger. You're going to be not just getting new weapons and things, but you are going to be crafting new objects also. So that's very cool. And the co-op nature of it, you're simultaneously taking turns, and you're all previous stunt people, and so you got like parkour actions that you can do, and there's like light cover mechanics, and the parkour means you can climb up stuff and go down zip lines and do stuff that action, I'm going to say action heroes, but stunt doubles would have done. Back in the 70s and 80s. Anyway, so on the face of it, it does look kind of interesting, this world map thing, because I don't think we've seen this in board gaming, where you can let the story continue and then follow it on later. This is kind of cool. So it is bringing something to this kind of adventure. And in fact, it almost feels like a dungeon crawler with like an open, not in the dungeon, but on the open world. And you can return to locations and stuff because potentially things might have gone back there. You might get a lead that this person's going to a location you've been to already, so there could be some tracing back. And the amount of locations you've got there is a lot of them also. And the legacy component of it is all about opening decks of cards, which has like equipment that's based on the area you're in and the enemy types you're in, stuff like this. For example, these white boards here are the enemies that are in this particular map, and the cards that you put into these things, they'll have their own equipment and things like this. Now, you are fighting Russians, which is a little bit interesting, isn't it, due to the war in Ukraine, and that gives a little meat to the bone. It's almost like it's 1950 and you bring about a board game and you're fighting against German Nazis. Because the guy on the boss, the guy in the box here in the top with the beard, he's the Russian. They're calling it a crime lord that you're trying to take down. And I guess in Far Cry you're always trying to take down usually the leader, but they're calling it crime boss. Some people call Putin a bit of a crime lord, don't they? He's like a gangster. He's a bit of a dictator. There's this kind of thing, but it's almost, you can imagine you going into Russia trying to take down it does talk about Kremlin, I think. So, taking down the head of the country. Yeah, it's very close, isn't it? Very close to the line. And of course, it's not shipping to Russia. I don't know. it is fairly interesting. Now, the box itself, €115, which is a lot of dollars, isn't it? Well, you do get I say you get a fair amount of minis, but I think the cost of it is due to the amount of boards you're getting. You're getting a lot of these detailed boards and all that stuff. And this picture here just represents a typical scenario. It doesn't represent what you're getting in the box. But I don't know why they've not got this kind of laid out. 44 minis. They're calling them high definition minis. They've got plastic ID rings. These are just going to sit underneath them. Double dialed player boards. Yeah, your boards have got these nice dials on them, and I'm guessing the double dialed just means you've got 2 dials on them. 13 enemy boards. Whoa, so there's going to be some scenarios where you get 13 different enemies. Wow, that's going to be kind of crazy. Lots of custom dice and 400 tokens. A lot of these tokens are going to actually go down on the board. They might represent objects you've got to pick up, potentially objects you want to pick up, objects you want to search, or something like this. There might be objects that you can shoot that could explode. There might be objects like switches that you can turn things on or raise things up or whatever. The maps are interactive, and I guess a lot of these tokens are going to focus on these things. 320 plus cards. The plus suggests stretch goals if you see a plus on these. Most of the cards are items, aren't they? And there is this kind of crafting going on in the game, which is delicious. I love crafting. It's one of my favourite mechanics in board gaming. And I love the fact that the legacy, all the crafted items are going to be going forward through the campaign. There is a skirmish that you can play in the game if you just want to do a quick heads up. But it's, you potentially want to do it as a campaign. It says 20 location cardboard sheets. So it's not, are they saying it's not a board if it's a sheet? So it's like something you might get from a role play game with sheets. Hopefully this will get extended. And I think they've got like extra boxes and stuff that might have more locations anyway. But 60 mission briefings, 60 plus. So there's like a mass variety. Like it says there, there's one A2 poster map where you can be going around, and you are going to be putting things on that map just to kind of help you track where certain events are going and all this good stuff. And it's the what's only going to be one rule book. Now you'll notice these kind of red things that are on the board. These are kind of the bosses, the red minis, and there's some really kind of mutated ones here, almost like Resident Evil stuff. So it definitely is playing a little bit on the sci-fi. I do like this aspect of a 4-player Far Cry, and I wonder, in the future, are Ubisoft going to produce a 4-player Far Cry campaign where it's like this open world and you can watch events happen like in this board game? Because it does sound fascinating actually if a video game went the path of this game. And I think if an IP is coming, if an IP board game isn't bringing anything from the video game, then maybe it's offering something to the video game, and I think this offers that kind of open world legacy concept, which of course is replayable. In fact, if you mess up your scenario, you can potentially replay it, because you're going to be replaying the campaign perhaps, and you might want to go down a different path to see how things change, and you might specifically trying to get that path, a bit like, I don't know, there used to be Star Fox on the Nintendo SNES. There was like, if you killed certain enemies, you go down a harder path, and you might have to replay that level to go down that harder path. And it's a bit like this. If you specifically want to go down a path, you might have to go the hard route, and that might mean you're replaying that. So it does have that in it, which is kind of neat. Yes. there's the boss. I mean, he doesn't look anything like Putin. In fact, this guy looks very wide, doesn't he? So, you know, refrigerator wide. I do like the range of characters. I love the big beefy. She looks like a wrestler, doesn't she? The one in the middle, and you got another big guy there with a baseball bat. The dog looks nice with a little cap, sunglasses, and a good spiked bandana around the neck. He's looking cool. I'm not so big on the guy with the gas mask. That just looks lazy. I like the bum bag, or fanny sack as the Americans call it. That looks kind of cool. The vibrant colours of the 80s, and the dungarees look very cool on the chickie-doos on the left. So characters looking kind of fun. Now in Far Cry, it's not, you know, you are running around maybe in your military gear, but you know, you can potentially might be able to get armor and stuff for these peeps. I mean, you're going to be coming against some heavy weaponry later on in the game, so potentially there is going to be some kind of not just items, but stuff you might be able to wear passively and things like that. So Mini's looking nice. If they're going to do plain standees, I would have preferred the translucent standees that we've seen on Kickstarter this year. That looks like a really cool, because if you've got these nice boards, it's nice to see the art below them, isn't it? So yeah, each hero, they definitely got this asynchronous to them. They're each individual, almost class-based. You can see this guy's very good for long-range combat. No, a mid-range fighter. Up here it says, some are useful for long-range combat, others are better at handling melee. Tactical support, medic, these are the classes. Obstructors, a bit like the tank, and melee bruiser. I like the, I like some of the minis actually. They're not like dynamic, like they're doing something. They're like staying within a cast, but they're nice as they are, you know. The Butch and Rosie, I like this class because the dog can go around and do, you know, potentially climb on top of things, tables for example, and run at the enemies. Like, it's very cinematic type thing, and that you can do with your minis. And the game can completely be done solo. Now the combo cards, it says here, 210. Now a lot of these green cards look like these are kind of the crafting things, like the Shark Tooth is a sniper rifle mod. Got these funky things like you got miniature flag of the USA. So like weird stuff going on here. We've got these cards which are kind of, you know, like the super jump and the clear shot. These are kind of, if they're not class specific, they have got to be generically put in there, right? I think this would look really nice if these were pictures from the characters in the movies that we're in. So clear shot here, and it might have had a picture and put a bit of lore in, and it said like, you know, this is I don't know, this is Ball Reyes taking a super shot in the movie that came out in 1981. Like, it'd be so cool if these, even though they are generic, it would be so cool if we saw these pictures with these heroes in the movies that they were in, right? They're supposed to be stunt doubles. Instead of these, like, I'm almost gonna say lazy cards, aren't they? Miniature flag, you're picking this stuff up in location. I don't know why they've not got a background of the location they're coming from. That seems like a bit of a miss. Same with these mods and stuff. It'd be better to show them where you're picking them up from, off the floor and stuff. This pulls the the immersion into the game when you pick up the shark tooth and you remember you picked it up in that room because they are showing you a little bit of that room and it gives you a bit of a remembrance of what happened back then. Stuff like this. I prefer to see these objects in the world on the cards, and I just think this is more video gamey, where you're not really interested in that kind of detail. But as this stuff's going to be in front of you all the time, it would have been nice to be... I don't know. I think these cards should definitely have that kind of art in. And it's coming from Ubisoft. They've got to green light all this stuff, and I think Funforge might, could do a little bit more on these cards. I mean, August 2023, it's got another year of development before it goes to production, so I think this is my biggest request, is to update the art. Like I say, put these abilities with, what I've said, it needs to have like movie pictures from the movies that we're in, put these items in the locations you got them from, and same with the objects. The mighty villains. Now there's quite a few of these, and I know there's copy paste minis and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, your pledges will go up if they do individual sculpts. And it's nice that they've just got sets of 4, they've not got 8 of 1, stuff like that. It's annoying. They've done like this art in these white things here, and I don't know how I feel about that, because they could be putting down the background of Russia here. That would be really interesting to nail down the location where you're in. And this could be pick your country. I mean, it doesn't put Russia on it, right? It doesn't have that feel. In fact, we've not seen the map yet. I keep saying Russia. You can see the flesh eater there is a little bit, here. A little bit Resident Evil. Lazarus, he's the boss. I like his cane because it looks like it's a gun and a cane in one, like a rifle. Very cool. Yes, Cobra's looking nice. Right, so it says you get this plastic tray, and then you put your sheets inside the tray. So that's how they're doing it. Okay. I do like these dice. I don't know why they're not engraved. Maybe this is going to be a stretch goal. Usually if you get one colour on the die, as we're seeing here, they could be engraved. They don't look that custom, actually. They look basically, if you're going to customize, you might go to the effort to do certain things, but here, I don't know. Maybe this is we're gonna see an upgrade in the stretch goals. Lots of tokens in this game. Super loads of punching. Cards, missions, briefings, setup, files. This is all going to be for the campaign. And why do I keep saying Russia when they're in the United States? So what's like mysterious story? What are the Russians doing in the United States in the 80s? Colour me confused, peeps. But these are all the maps you're going to be travelling around and following the story and leads that you're going and all that good stuff. Yeah, minis are big actually. You're playing minis. 48. Lazarus coming in above 70. So minis are big. It has a satisfying ending. You can opt for the full adventure with its 2 expansions. So they're saying... and these are chronologically based. So these extend the campaign. New scenarios, of course, and locations. New gameplay, stealth mechanics, hacking, mind control, zero gravity. Yet there is a gameplay all in. I'm $1 pledging, by the way, because of shipping ? And I want to see a little bit more of how it stretches and things like this. You know, this is a normal thing. And with a year of development, you've probably got a lot of time before you need to double down on the pledge. So, yeah. Ironwind looks a bit snowy. Could be Alaska if you're staying on that world map. 10 new location tiles though, and 30 missions, so this is fairly big. It says you are going to infiltrate the enemy country, so this must be Russia, and you're going to discover an apocalyptic land with cybernetic horrors. Ooh. Here's the Army of Steel, so completely different here. Robot skills. These are the terminal threats. So Magda, she could be. Look at that, but not, definitely Resident Evil-y, with a little bit of robot thrown in there. But yeah, very cool. More cards and loot stuff. So we might get a deep dive on what these are later on. At the minute, we're just kind of guessing from the page at the minute, you know. And I guess this is the final part of the campaign, this Comet Thunder, and if it's going to have you going into space, ? 10 more location sheets, more missions, more cards and stuff. You depart from Earth to track down the abysmal menace in space. So aliens. It's going very kind of beyond, as the game is called, right? Far Cry Beyond. And you can see Lazarus here is evolved into this weird boss. So the boss from the main game is going to evolve into something else. Nice. Again, it's more Resident Evil thinking going on. Far Cry meets Resident Evil. So this is going to go a little bit sci-fi in space, which I'm all up for this. Stretch goals. NPC, non-playable character, Young Herc. There's like a rocket specialist in the Far Cry series. Is this him? Young Herc? Is that it? Is that right? I really can't remember. You know, you put hours and hours into this game, so when you meet a character in Far Cry, it's memorable, maybe. Another pet. This is fantastic. I like the pet classes here, and to have this kind of alligator, it's very cool. These are big stretch goals, though, right? More to come. Hopefully the dice get fixed, and there's going to be, I don't know if it needs to be a stretch goal, but hopefully the art will get a pass. It does say lots of the stuff we're seeing here is early. It's heavy loaded with gameplay surprises for maximum variety. Fantastic. You know, when you play campaigns and they're pretty much doing the same thing every time. There's a campaign at the minute which be Bard Sung, that bloody thing, which has zero variety. Were you one of those that backed Bard Sung and are now feeling the lack of variety? Or am I completely wrong? Let me know in the comments, peeps, if you've got Bard Sung. I'd love to know your opinions on that, because what I've been learning about Bard Sung is that it is dull as dishwater. Yeah, I like it. Absolutely looking good. So yeah, maximum varieties each scenario you go to. Yeah, crafting, which will get expanded as well because of you're keeping all your equipment through the scenarios. Adaptive enemy AI. Parkour. Escort missions, lots more. Now it does say, look, please note, this is a work in progress. Rules, art, they're still being developed. So yeah, hopefully we'll do that. I am backing, so I'm going to put a comment in after this video. There's lots of gameplay videos you can pull from here. They're playing like a scenario or stuff like that. And the game's coming from France, from the city of Paris, so it is a big box and all that. Shipping question mark. 35 euros could be to a state in the... Wow, that's very expensive, isn't it? If you're based in France, I don't know why they don't look at Lucky Duck Gaming for their shipping services, because they've nailed all these much cheaper prices, especially to Mexico. I don't understand why they don't contact the brethren. So yeah, hopefully we'll get something to do with shipping. You know, the devs here are not exactly new to Kickstarter, but you get more backers if you can get the shipping down. So yeah, you know, get on to Lucky Duck shipping services. I mean, come on. So yeah, we've got a big team here, and everything is being everything has to go to Ubisoft to get green lit. You can see there's 4 people on the team at Ubisoft making sure that this stuff is good. So there's all that stuff. Now it's a little bit of a ninja project at 14 days. Like, what's going on here? So hopefully there's enough time to actually showcase what these expansions are doing and all that good stuff. I think it's a really tight game, but if anything, the card art for me is the one thing I'd love to see upgraded. And then we've got potentially a good IP here. Again, I think this IP could actually be evolving the video game, which is a little bit static in its gameplay design, but I like this legacy aspect of not killing everything and potentially letting things go through and deciding where you're going around and all that stuff. So yeah, because the open world video games are all following the same token, right? It's like climb towers to unlock bits of the map, go and collect this stuff, blah blah blah. It's like all games are merging into the kind of a set cookie cutter kind of formula. And here, this open world here suggests that it could be done a little bit different, and I think that might hint maybe towards what Ubisoft have got going for the Far Cry on the video game. But here in the board game, it does in itself look interesting, especially all these sheets of paper that you're putting down on that card offer variety. And as it says, trying to make each scenario or each campaign maximize its variability in what you're doing. So that almost looks like it's a pillar of design that all the scenarios play out differently, and that's why it's going to be pretty interesting to get hold of. So if you have got concerns, you can always late pledge these games, but I think the $1 pledge is my recommendation until we know more. And especially with everything looking early, I think post-campaign is where you're going to get nearer to the final game, and that's my suggestion, is just to $1 ride it through and kind of learn how things change up in the next year, and then commit to the pledge, because a little bit early here and all that good stuff. I'd love to know your thoughts on the Kickstarter. Is it too much for you to bear at the minute? Is it too less of IP that you were looking for? I don't really understand this IP crying thing, because the Far Cry games are all in different locations and they don't seem to have that much in common with each other, and I would have been disappointed if we got peeps from each of the Far Cries. I don't really want to see that, even though that stretch goal might be a younger version of a character. I don't know. We'll have to see how the stretch goals go. But yeah, art on the cards and get those dice upgraded too. That looks like a gimme. And maybe the components get upgraded as well. Yeah, we've got this push at the minute to upgrade components. Even Jurassic World, the retail Kickstarter, they even updated the components for the Kickstarter edition. That'd be nice to get a component update as well. We'll just have to see. I've caught this maybe in its first hour, and there's not that many people jumping on it, but I hope it does well, and yeah, we'll just have to see. But at the minute, got lots of potential, want to know more, and we might not get it in 14 days. So on that bombshell, peeps, is $1 the strategy? Let me know. But I think if I'm $1 pledging it, I'm going to want all of it. I want all that campaign, right? I'm going to want to continue that story into space. So that's probably where I'll end up on my late pledge if I do get enamoured with the process and I'm happy with it going late pledge and all that stuff. So yeah, I'll probably come back and do final thoughts if we get updates on the expansion boxes and all that stuff. I think anything we'd learn of between now and the end is going to be worth doing another video if it's big, and yeah, hopefully they'll double down on some of the mechanics and stuff like that, and hopefully we'll get some good updates as we go through. Peeps, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know your thoughts on the video. Please give it a thumbs up, leave any comments you want, and if you want to leave, we're going to be doing a questions and answers on this week's broadcast. So if you want to put a question into broadcast, just put #question and leave your question in the comments, and you'll be featured on this Sunday's radio podcast. So there we go. Well, I've been your host, Lipstickpaddy. This has been Kickstarter Radio 102.4. You take care, stay safe, and bye-bye for now.